Chinese Defense Minister wrapping up his day-long visit yesterday, all eyes have once again shifted to the intra-party wrangling in the ruling Nepal Communist Party. Understandably, the blame game between the chairman duo has brought the party at the verge of a split. The national politics in the upcoming days is bound to be intense, with speculations whether the ruling party will opt for a split or continue its fate of consensus amid the crisis. Good morning, I'm Sarah Chitrakar and these are the headlines of the hour. Chinese Defense Minister and State Councillor Wei Fenghe pledges commitment to implement the past agreement, assures of China's continued assistance. PM Oli adopts strategy to isolate Executive Chair Dahal with the help of the former CPN-UML colleagues. Minister Pun accuses the PM of being intolerant towards dissenting ministers. The bullish trend at the share market continues, setting new records as the NEPSE index, single-day turnover and other transactions touch all-time highs. And Tottenham returns to the top of the Premier League despite being held by Chelsea in a highly competitive yet goalless London stalemate. Chinese Defense Minister and State Councillor Wei Fenghe visited Nepal yesterday in less than a month since two chiefs of Indian security institutions completed their visits to the country. During his 8-hour visit to Nepal yesterday, Minister Wei Fenghe held high-profile meetings. We have more in this report.
Chinese Defense Minister and State Councillor Wei Fenghe, who was in Nepal for 8 hours on Sunday, expressed his commitment to implement the past agreements reached between the two countries during his meeting with Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli on Sunday evening. Chinese Defense Minister Fenghe also assured that China's assistance to Nepal would continue. During the meeting at the Prime Minister's official residence in Baluatar, Chinese Defense Minister Fenghe said China is always ready to assist in Nepal's economic development. In their response, Premier Oli expressed his commitment that Nepal would not allow its territory to be used for anti-China activities. Prime Minister's foreign advisor Rajan Bhattarai informed that Premier Oli requested China to help Nepal in providing anti-COVID-19 vaccines once they are developed. Chinese Defense Minister Fenghe also paid a courtesy call on President Bidyadevi Bhandari. The Chinese Defense Minister, who landed in Kathmandu on Sunday morning, spent most of his time at the Army headquarters. Upon his arrival at the Army headquarters, a troop of the Nepal Army offered a guard of honor to the visiting Chinese Defense Minister. The Chinese Defense Minister held bilateral talks with Chief of Army Staff Purna Chandra Thapa at the Nepal Army headquarters. According to a high-ranking official of the Nepal Army, the meeting focused on the Chinese military assistance worth 2.5 billion rupees. Likewise, talks were also held on resuming joint army drills which had remained disrupted amid the pandemic. Chinese Defense Minister Fenghe left for Dhaka, Bangladesh on Sunday evening after wrapping up his Nepal visit.
The proposal submitted by Chairman of the ruling Nepal Communist Party and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli at the Secretariat Committee meeting on Saturday has not only criticized Executive Chairman Pushpa Kamal Dahal but has also challenged him to face the consequences. However, Premier Oli maintaining silence regarding senior leader duo Jhalnath Khanal and Madhav Kumar Nepal and Vice Chairman Bamdev Gautam, who have been strongly supporting Executive Chairman Dahal, has raised questions on the proposal. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, through his 38-page report, made several accusations on Executive Chairman Dahal at Saturday's Secretariat Committee meeting, criticizing him for his weakness in a series of incidents within the party. The Dahal camp, in its defense, accused Premier Oli for focusing more at the personal level. However, coming down heavily on Executive Chairman Dahal, Prime Minister Oli has shown leniency on former CPN-UML leaders Khanal, Nepal and Gautam, even as Executive Chairman Dahal had presented his 19-point report at the Secretariat Committee meeting earlier with the consent of 3 leaders. Premier Oli's response is being analyzed within the party as part of a strategy to isolate Executive Chairman Dahal with the help of the former CPN-UML faction. Analysts, however, have said that there is no sign that the Dahal-Nepal equation would be affected due to Prime Minister Oli's counter-strategy. Instead, the disgruntled faction has criticized Premier Oli for trying to cover up his flaws. In his report, Prime Minister Oli has highlighted Executive Chairman Dahal's political life and challenged him to choose between party unity and party division. It is evident that neither of the chairmen is ready to concede to the allegations leveled against one another. The scenario has further intensified the ruling party's internal conflict, pushing it into a state of chaos and uncertainty. Meanwhile, Standing Committee member of the ruling Nepal Communist Party and Energy Minister Barshaman Pun has accused Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli of being intolerant towards the dissenting ministers. Minister Pun made it clear that the leadership was responsible for the serious crisis seen in the party. Amid escalating debates within the party on the reports turned in by both the chairmen, our correspondent Naraj Pandey asked Minister Pun what could be the basis for maintaining unity for the ruling Nepal Communist Party.
नेकपा को पार्टी जीवनमा के गम्भीर प्रश्न उठेको छ यसलाई हामी विधिसंगत ढंगले तर्कसंगत ढंगले नेतृत्वका साथसाथै कार्यकर्ताहरूको पनि सहभागितामा हामी यसलाई निष्कर्षमा पुर्याउँछौं थोरै निराशाको अवस्था जस्तो देखिए पनि यसलाई हामी सकारात्मक रूपान्तरण भन्छ कि एउटा आपसी अन्तरसंघर्ष आपसी वाद विवाद संवादबाट एउटा रूपान्तरण हुन्छ भन्ने हाम्रो विश्वास छ।
प्रधानमन्त्रीको पछिल्लो कतिपय समाचारहरू पनि बाहिर आएका छन्। दाहाल लक्षित मात्रै होइन पूर्व माओवादीबाट प्रतिनिधित्व गरेर सरकारमा सहभागी हुनुभएका कतिपय मन्त्रीहरूले लानुभएको प्रस्ताव रोकिने अवस्थादेखि कतिपय नेताहरू कतिपय पूर्व माओवादीका मन्त्रीहरूलाई त राजीनामासम्म मागेकै प्रसङ्ग पनि समाचारमा आयो। यसमा कति सत्यता छ?
अब त्यसमा प्रधानमन्त्रीले हालसालै राजीनामा मागेको त जानकारीमा छैन। यद्यपि भदौ 26 को अगाडिका बैठकहरूमा लिएका पोजिसनहरूका आधारमा अलिअलि प्रधानमन्त्रीमा आग्रह पूर्वाग्रह चाहिँ देखिएको छ। विमति राख्ने होलान् कोही सहमत होलान् सबैलाई लिएर जाने पार्टी अध्यक्षको। त्यसो गर्दा पार्टी अध्यक्षसँग या प्रधानमन्त्रीसँग विमति गरेर पनि काम गर्न सकिन्छ। यो पार्टीमा यो सरकारमा विषयहरूमा के विमति हुन्छन् भन्ने कुरा उहाँहरूले स्थापित गर्नुपर्छ प्रधानमन्त्रीले। त्यो
The share market has continued its bullish trend, setting all-time new records yesterday. The NIPSE index and the single-day turnover, along with the number of transactions and shares traded in a single trading day, touched all-time highs yesterday. The NIPSE rose by 75.02 points yesterday to settle at 1,968.27 points, while the intraday turnover crossed the 9 billion mark on the first trading day of the week. The Commercial Bank and Development Banks groups attributed for the massive gain in the overall NIPSE. The Development Bank Group witnessed 8% growth, while the Commercial Bank Group ended with 7.8% increase. The Life Insurance, Hydropower and Microfinance groups also closed with positive trading. Investors of 102 companies earned profit yesterday. A total of 25.9 million units of shares of 200 companies were traded for just over 9.22 billion rupees. This is the highest number of transactions and shares traded in a single trading day. Last Thursday, the share market recorded the highest single-day trading of just over 7.61 billion rupees. Nepal Reinsurance Company Limited registered the highest individual turnover of 517.99 million rupees. The shares of Kumari Bank, Nabil Bank, Prabhu Bank and Global IME Bank traded the most yesterday. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Puthan why have political leaders and parliamentarians been busy in internal disputes despite taking responsibility of developing the country. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice. इनलाई के छ भने समाज र देशको चिन्ता भन्दा नि व्यक्तिगत नितान्त आफ्नो स्वार्थको लागि यिनीहरु अगाडि बढिरहेछ।
सबै चाहिँ सत्तामा जान पाएमा हामी ठुला हुँदा हो भन्ने त्यसै छ।
नोकरीको लागि, कुर्सीको लागि अगाडि सरिरहेको।
मैले कसरी कुर्सी पाउनु पर्छ, आफ्नो उलाई व्यक्तिगत आफ्नो उलाई कसरी लैजान पर्छ भन्ने हाम्रो नेताहरु भएर हाम्रो देश नेपाल हाम्रो पछि परिरहेको।
नेताहरु आफ्नो देशको लागि नलडेर आफ्नो स्वार्थको लागि लडिराछन्।
जबसम्म नेताहरु आफ्नो स्वार्थदेखि माथि उठ्न छाड्दैन तबसम्म हामी जनताहरूलाई दुःख हुन छाड्दैन।
शीर्ष नेताहरू एक आपसमा मुठभेड गर्नुको प्रमुख कारण भनेकै सत्ता लालच हो।
It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: why hasn't the government reduced the charges for COVID-19 testing? Your options are A. Nexus with private hospitals, B. Expensive testing materials, and C. Policy to lower number of tests. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And time now for our special segment, Off the Beat. The water life has been greatly hampered as rivers in the country are exposed to chemical waste, among others. In the meantime, fish farmers and local for our special segment Off the Beat and Kantipur News Desk. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Chinese Defense Minister and State Councillor Wei Fenghe pledges commitment to implement the past agreement, assures of China's continued assistance. PM Oli adopts strategy to isolate Executive Chair Dahal with the help of the former CPN-UML colleagues. Minister Pun accuses the PM of being intolerant towards dissenting ministers. The bullish trend at the share market continues, setting new records as the NEPSE index single-day turnover and other transactions touch all-time highs. And Tottenham returns to the top of the Premier League despite being held by Chelsea in a highly competitive yet goalless London stalemate. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.